Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Inclusion Starts Now, the podcast. Today is kind of like a two-parter in one by basically me taking two different days to record this podcast. First, it's Josh and me and Josh talking about the culture in our house and how we are going to try to navigate that with new kids coming in who are going to be coming from a different culture. And and then I'm going to talk about how we can change culture, change schools' cultures, change our home culture, and how important that is to line up like our values and beliefs and goals, and of course, focusing on making it inclusive. So enjoy me and Josh talking to each other. Attention, everybody who, oops, is watching. Josh's hair is down. It was a spontaneous decision and it's happening, and it is a lion mane. Josh is back. We are going to talk today about culture, which I already love talking about with inclusion and like making a more inclusive community. But today we're going to talk about it in our house. Good. I'm glad that you nodded for our podcast.
I'm just
Um,
trying to, really get those people wanting to watch the video. A
get
little
more than
wild,
the 3 views
yeah, a little
on
wild
YouTube.
views.
I appreciate that. So, I guess just for anybody listening, we are going to start this off as like a conversation with both of us. And then I think we're going to kind of cut it short because we're just tired. Having us both be awake and available for a podcast is
Well,
hard.
you're doing another, like this is going to overlap with you
Well,
talking to
yeah,
somebody else about it. So it's
that's
not
what I
just
was saying.
okay, we're saying it's kind of cutting it short, but like
Well,
this is
yeah,
like a multi,
I know I was gonna get to
okay,
that.
multi-guest.
I was
Sorry.
gonna
Spoiling the
say
fun,
that
spoiling the
yes,
fun.
ours is gonna be short because it's hard for us to just even get together for an hour to do this and not like hang out and do something on our own. So I'm gonna go more into culture
Yep.
after this, which will not be recorded today at this time. Anyways, let's talk about it. So the I don't know, do you want to talk about it? Because I'm gonna be talking a lot. Do you want to talk about like culture?
Um,
Sorry for putting you on the spot.
yeah, no, man, such a great wide subject you want me to dive into. Do you
How
want me to
about
just like choose a point?
how would you describe the culture in our house?
Hmm. I feel like the culture in our house is how do we have fun while being kind?
Hmm.
It's not really focused that like hey, we don't have a certain focus on anything to um like something that we practice. There's not like a certain type of uh, ideology really that we
Oh, I
like
see.
it's more
Yeah.
of just of okay, like how can we make the most of our time while being kind and learning.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think we are we are very big critical thinkers, or well, we try to be, and we try to accept critical thinkers coming into our life, and we try to push critical thinking onto our kids. Which I think just everyone has a hard time kind of critiquing their own values and their own like beliefs and way of living because I think we're all doing what we feel like is best or what's right. And I think questioning, I don't like when people's values get questioned, I think that's when people get like really defensive. Which is interesting to like bringing this back to like the culture of our house. I've been really appreciative of the reflection the online training had us do. That like made us think
Mm,
like, okay, if kids come into your house that come from this background or have this identity or this, like, how are you going to support them?
yeah.
Which eventually got me to this thought where that I basically, I don't, did I like, I feel like I called you. I was like upstairs and I called you or I texted you, I think, while you were working. And it was just a sentence where I said, can conservatives be good foster parents?
Yeah.
And I was like, I know that sounds harsh and I want to think about this some more. Um,
Well, that's another very loaded question because, like, okay, conservative in the sense of, like, what do you mean by conservative? I think that needs to be broken down first.
yeah. I mean, I would think like I guess conservative values that are more like socially would be like you're not for like the LGBTQ plus community. You're not like you're not for like the DEI initiatives because you feel like it's hiring people who aren't qualified for the job. Like that you, I mean, I guess what's hard is that as not a conservative, I kind of view people who are conservatives as like stuck in time, that they're not willing to like again like reflect and rethink the feelings that they have. Um,
Yeah, well, like, okay, so if you're keeping it with like political uh, conservatives, it's the whole thing is to conserve how the power is already distributed. Like you're conserving what's already there. You're not progressing it. So in like a political kind of a ideology, like yes, like you don't want to be granting like, well, yeah, it's like this is a whole other thing. But I would say, just kind of cutting back, I would say there would be conservatives out there who would argue that, some people maybe they say they take a traditional quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes with my fingers for those listening, quote unquote traditional family values, and that's still this like vague, like, okay, you're just trying to cover up that you don't believe people should be not just man or should only be man and wife. Like there's no other spectrum there, or maybe what they mean is, you know what? Because I know there are some people who say, we're Republican, we're conservative, but they are more open and they say like, okay, we like the traditional family structure, but just in the sense of, hey, there's this family that has two caring parents. And like that's what really matters to them. Like, okay, they want
mhm.
to have families together, being able to work together and go with the household rather than like, oh,
Like
like
you're
go.
saying the state wants like,
Oh no, no. I was just saying like there are some Republicans or if we're doing it like this, like conservatives where
I mean, I
they
think for the sake of this podcast episode, we could just label it the way that we're trying to say it. Like I don't think we need to try to be like, yeah, if you're talking about
yeah.
Republicans or conservatives, you could just say that. I don't think we're being like offensive.
Yeah, no, and what I meant is like I don't think it's this overarching thing of like, okay, if you agree or identify in one area that you view no sort of openness or accepting of like these children's differing beliefs, identities, views. You're not gonna like, okay, if they have a different religion or if they don't have a religion and you have a religion. I think that there are plenty of conservatives out there who just want a like family structure where like they don't care who is the parent, they just want a supported family.
Yeah.
So I think there would be like that argument out there as well. It's not so much okay, if you're not willing to have this progressive moving forward thought process like of like acceptance, then you're just going to be completely shunning your kid's identity if it differs from your own, which
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I mean, yeah, sorry. I
No,
feel like
but
I
I
just
think I think that's what it is because I mean, I don't think that conservatives would make bad foster parents. I do know people who are conservative who have been foster parents or who have adopted. But I guess just with the conversations that we were having with our training, it's the idea that you are, no matter what your own values are, that a child is coming into your home who might not be carrying those values. And how are you, as the foster parent, going to support them?
yeah,
Which I feel like to turn this around on us being like more liberal and like not religious and whatever, uh, one of the questions was if we had a foster child come into our care who was religious, who like religion was really important to their culture, would we make that a priority for them in our family? And that was really the first, I feel like that was the first time that we were like, oh, like we've talked all, of course, we're like LGBTQ plus. Yeah, we'll find events where you can connect with other people like who have like who share your identity and um BIPOC. Like we will find cultural events so you can connect with people. Like we were so ready for all of those. And then there was the question of like if they come in and they're like practicing I don't know, Church of Latter-day Saints or something, like would you be able to support them? And we were like, huh. I mean, yeah, but that would look different. Like that isn't something we were like really planning for, but I felt like it was a good conversation to have that like we would still I mean we would of course support them and be like, yeah, like we will take turns going to church with you and we will like give you that space and support and like we won't sit there and then make fun of you be like oh great now we got to go bring you to church like it will still be a supportive thing.
We would have to change our language probably a little bit though. No, no, no,
I
no,
know.
not
I
not in
mean,
like a disrespectful way. More
yeah,
of a because the our oldest is their preschool is one that has a religious background to it, and we don't necessarily agree with some of the things that they have them memorize. Um, but I mean, we still support it. They're all amazing. But we sometimes have to walk the oldest through some possibilities that are out there to
yeah.
uh,
I mean, I think it's kind of like I feel like religion is like a parenting technique. Like I think it's a type of parenting technique that people have just used for so long. And I think that's why I uh I have so many strong opinions about religion because it feels like a parenting technique that like well, I don't, this is not a part of the podcast at all. But just like that it's kind of like puts this fear in a child and like,
oh,
you know, these like morals, but I don't always feel like it's explained, but it can be. I do feel like there are people who have interpreted it that I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like I get it. I get religion. We just aren't like practicing religious people. But if children came into our home who were, we would 100% support them. Now, I guess my question is if there was a very like a conservative house that had very strong like traditional values, like and then there was a child who comes into their care and starts questioning their gender identity, would they support them? Like, would they help them get a therapist? Would they help connecting them to LGBTQ plus community members? Like, what would they do? Or would they just be like, no, you've gone through a lot of trauma. Let's just like sweep that under the rug. Let's bring you to, you know, this and focus on this. I was gonna say church, but not all church is like anti-LGBTQ plus. Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess that's I would like love to hear people's thoughts on this.
I mean, I'm sure there are some people out there who have just, yeah, great heart. They want to foster, but maybe they do have some of those. I'm sure there's some out there. I'm sure there's some very religious people out there who are fostering that are super supportive and understanding.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just,
I
I
mean,
mean,
that
it
lady,
just would suck
never mind.
to be have your identity ignored coming into a new home where it's not with any of your like family or anyone you know. It
Yeah.
like just to put something else on top of the trauma and what you're dealing with sounds not the right step forward.
Yeah. So I guess to our next question, how like and when this was one of the questions on the training was how are you going to like what rules are you going to tell the kids when they come into your house? Like what are expectations? What are boundaries? Like what are things that you are going to say? Like what do you think the first like three rules will be that will tell the kids? And I'm just gonna say I don't think this counts as one of our top three rules, but that there are no shoes in the house. Because the second they come into the house, we're gonna be like, okay, take off your shoes. But we're still not that strict about that. It's
Yeah.
really just for carpet, but that's not the point. What would you
Digress.
say are the top three rules that we would say to incoming kids?
Ask for help. I don't know. I don't know.
I like that. Or I feel like you could always come and talk to us. Like you will not get in trouble for coming to us.
Yeah.
Like something along
Yeah.
those lines of like
You won't get in trouble for telling us the truth.
because I actually think about this a lot when I like wake up and get ready, or like if our kids come into our room, like before we're up, like what are the other kids gonna do? Like they're not gonna. Oh my God, when I slept over at other people's houses, I was terrified of their parents. Like n not for any valid reason, but it's like it's hard when you don't know people's like rules and how they're gonna respond to things, and you don't want them to like get mad at you or something. Like I've thought a lot about this. Like, are we just going to start waking up really early so we can make sure that they know we're awake and they can come down? Like, um, I mean, like keep our door open. I mean, we kind of already keep our, oh no, our stupid dog. Not our stupid
Oh,
dog. We love our dog.
summer.
But
Yeah, airflow.
we've closed the door because of our dog.
I just block it with the hamper.
I was wondering why the hamper kept getting in front of the door. I was like, what is this? Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so that I feel like is a good rule one of like you can always come and talk to us. We will not like, we will explain, we won't get mad. This is like a
Hmm.
safe place. I feel like that's a good first rule. I was thinking of a rule for food, which they do tell us that like that we for foster kids of like looking out for behaviors of them like hoarding food or not eating in front of you or some sort of like eating disorder or body dysmorphia is pretty common. Or just like, if they came from a place where they never knew when they were going to get food, they might be like taking food and hiding it in their bedroom. And and so they've suggested having like snack boxes or bins that they could always get to. And like the pantry is not allowed to be locked, which as much as I've wanted to sometimes, I would never do that.
Pouch?
Oh my gosh, I know. The pouches are everything. What was I wanted to say something else, but I felt like it was going to be inappropriate. Pouches have
Classic.
their like hold on me. Is that what it is? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But no, we would never lock our pantry, and we actually have all of the kids' snacks on the bottom
Yeah, so they can reach it.
rack so they can reach it. What's up at the top is like candy that we
Yeah.
hide until it's like time to eat candy. But yeah, everything is available. We very rarely say no to food. The only time we say no is when we are like actively making food. And even then, like food is still out. Like there is always food
Yeah.
out somewhere. But it's usually like, I don't know, they're like, I want a pouch. And you're like, well, you have bell peppers over there on the table, or you can wait 10 more minutes for the spaghetti to be ready. Like, please stop asking me for food. But there's always food available,
Yep.
which I feel like
I think yeah, that's a
second
good
rule.
one.
Okay, third rule. I feel like, I don't know, it should be about consent, like with each other.
Hmm. I like it. Yeah.
Like if you say no, that means no. Like we might have to talk about it. It might not be something like my favorite example is like bike helmets. When a kid is like, I don't want to wear my helmet, and it's like, that's fine. You don't get to ride your bike.
Yeah.
Like my job is to keep you safe. If you're not going to wear your helmet, you can't ride your bike. Like I can control what I'm going to control. You can control what you're going to control. Sorry, did I just spit on you? No, never mind. Um, okay, so what were the three rules? What was the first one you said?
I said ask for help, but you're like
Oh
you can
yeah.
always come to us. Like, yeah, like you won't get in trouble if you come to us. I think that's
But I feel like that's what asking for help kind of
yeah,
is.
exactly.
Yeah. Anything else that I missed, that we missed
Um,
collectively as a unit?
no climbing.
Ugh, There's no way we can control that. We can't control that now. Oh my gosh. I really hope we can get a climbing situation happening upstairs. We have oh my God, I don't know if how much we've been talking about this on the podcast, but for anybody who's been here for the freaking garage renovation that we've been doing for like the last 7 months now or a year, I don't
The
even
next
know.
one will be in this office, in the
Well,
garage office.
wait, what?
The next one we record, we'll record in the.
Oh, no way. We both can't be out there. The kids inside here.
Just have the door open.
My gosh, that's how spiders get in. Um, so the garage renovation is we are adding because our garage is just like weirdly huge, and we have like this little work area that we're making into a guest. Is that the dog?
No, it's a bird.
Okay. It's a guest bedroom slash Josh's office because Josh's office is upstairs, but that is now the other kid's bedroom. So, which I actually am like, I seriously am just so excited for you to like
Be gone.
yeah, because it is so hard, like, even in the playroom, because that's where you are now,
Yeah,
like, that I can hear when you're on meetings and then like the kids wanting to run in and run out, like they don't run into the garage. Like that's not a fun place for them unless we're
yeah.
going outside to play. But like it's so annoying to like have you like to just have to like manage all that when I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait for you guys just to be able to open all the doors up here and scream. And I'm not like, shh, your dad's at a meeting. Like that's exactly how I say it too.
Papa.
I know. We used to try to do like the scrunchie on the door, but we just weren't
Consistent.
good at that because I don't know. You're like randomly on meetings. You're like, oh, 1 second, I gotta go put the scrunchie on the door. Like,
Yeah.
and then I don't feel like you remember to take it off.
Yeah, well, yeah, or like I like popping out to like see you guys like when I'm off, and then like okay, I go back in, and like oh, somebody wants to chat about something. Okay, like oh,
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah. So I'm excited for you to be in the office and then all the kids' rooms and the playroom. And then the playroom is going to be like Renovation City next, which I'm really excited for that one because that needs like a big kid upgrade. Um, yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Anyways,
So let's see. Yeah, I mean that was pretty much it. And I think it's been almost 30 minutes.
oh
That
wait,
was
so do you what your thought on someone being conservative and fostering?
I mean, I think as long as they are open to supporting the child's identity and cultural background, then like I don't see a problem with it. I mean, I get
It's
like
like
it's just like when you go into someone else's culture, like into someone else's home, you do
yeah.
kind of like you have to like kind of mold into their
I mean, so we're kind of saying is like it's fine to have the views you have as long as you're not hurting someone, but
yeah,
like it's fine to have those views as long as you let the others in the family or the
also
foster kids
exist.
have their views. As long
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
respect their views, identity, then it's fine. You can still, if you differ,
Yeah.
as long as you can just accept that, hey, they have a different view on something and you still respect them as a person,
Yeah.
that's what matters.
And yeah, I think that's exactly because like we have conservative friends, like we have conservative family, and I don't think, I mean, they accept us. So why wouldn't they accept like a child coming into their home kind of thing? Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess I don't, this might be going off on another little tangent again, but I do feel like what we get told the most is when people are like, oh, I don't know if if I'd be able to like basically love the kid the same as like your bio kids, which I think is like an interesting comment because sometimes I'm like, I don't know, do you love like your nieces and nephews? Like, do
Yeah.
you love
Do you have
these?
more than
Like,
if you have more than one kid too, it's like you kind of know like you love them both kind of differently. You love them both, but like
yeah, it's interesting, but I guess we won't really know until it happens, which we're hoping it's like any day now. I mean,
Yeah, your anxiety is.
it's so hard. It's so hard not to like everyone just keeps telling me just to plan my life and just like when the kids are here, we'll just figure it out. And I'm like, I I'm so cheap. That's the problem. I like literally cannot sign up our two kids right now for things, knowing that if it fills up, that the other kids won't be able to play. And I hate that. I We are going to start everything together.
So
That is what
a
we're
lot, a
going to
lot of
do.
park fun.
Except for swimming. See, I did sign them up for swimming. So
Yeah, but we can kind of work
we can
around
do like
like,
family
yeah,
swimming
because like
time or whatever.
the swimming lessons also have to be to their level. So if
Yeah,
they
which
come
we're
in not
doing
having
now.
any swim experience, or if they come in with a lot of
Yeah.
experience, like doesn't mean they would still be in the same class anyway. So
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay, that's that. I don't even know what our next week. We busted everything out in the first like 3 weeks. So we'll see. Hopefully next week, not next week. Hopefully next time you and me are talking together,
yeah,
we will like have more kids living in our house and maybe we could even like debrief.
yeah,
We should try to record like day 1, day
okay.
7, day 31 or
I
something.
think that'd be interesting. How about can people leave comments or like
They
or
can.
message your I don't know.
I don't know how to see them. I see that on like Spotify, I have a couple of comments and I don't know. I don't know how to see them. I don't know if I need like a Spotify account. I deleted it a while ago.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't
Hey, anyone out there who wants a screenshot and
know. I know. I don't know. And I have a couple reviews. I don't know how to see them. Maybe I'll try to figure it out. I just don't seem to have a lot of time. Okay, well that's it. And well that's it with you. And now I'm just what I'm gonna do is I've done presentations on like culture before. So all I'm gonna do is like break down culture, like organizational culture, I think is what it's called, or work culture, but why that understanding is so important for school and for our homes. Just to, like understand culture and where it comes from, why it is what it is.
oh
So
shoot. I have like one like last thing to
okay, do it. Last thing, and then I'm going to start talking about culture.
because
You have 10
well
seconds,
I
go.
was thinking about the
5 more seconds.
respecting someone else's views identity, but it's also it's more than just that. It has to be more than just ignoring it. It's almost like you have to be inquisitive a bit, or like you have to be interested. Like if your kids are into something that you're not into, like, what's this like
Yeah,
brick game that you have on your computer? But like,
yeah.
it's okay. It's not just yeah, computer Legos, and
But like
like
genuinely,
yeah, try to be interested and
yeah,
learn about it, like learn their side of it. So it's not just the okay, this is like what you identify as, or this is what you believe. Okay, I'm just like I don't believe that, so I'm done with it. Like, well, it has. I feel like
yeah.
for that connection to grow, you do have to have some curiosity and some interest in it. So,
I 100% agree. I actually feel like I just had this with our oldest with like her new fascination with zombies, zombies soundtracks,
we did.
which I mean, thankfully I love musicals and those zombies soundtracks are freaking lit, man. I love them so much. Uh, but to be like genuinely invested in like remembering the characters' names, like I don't know, she already knows that I'm genuinely trying to learn about her interests,
Yeah.
and not you, so you can do better. Okay, well, we let's move on to culture.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Okay, you have made it to the second part. Here we go. Now, I have presented on this topic a couple of times. I have done a half-day workshop and I have done some virtual presentations and I've tried to throw them into my social media reels. Really, it's something that I feel like needs to be talked about more in the education system setting especially when we're trying to make such a big change, like making it inclusive. So, as I was saying, the intentional process, like of, uh, oh my gosh, the concept of organizational culture design. So, the intentional process of creating, shaping, or transforming the culture of an organization to align with its goals, values, and mission. So, I am going to go over these three different parts of changes that we can make to our school's culture. Um, What I also want to just touch on, and I know I talk about this a lot, but it's all about that mindset. And there's a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And in this book, Cultures of Growth, the author, who I think her name is Mary, I can't remember her whole name, she, instead of calling it fixed mindset, she calls it the genius mindset because it's all about like who's the smartest. And if you fail, you get punished. And this is a really dangerous like work culture to be in because people start acting unethically when they know that they're going to get in trouble. They're gonna usually avoid getting into trouble, especially if getting into trouble is gonna lose your job. So, having this like competitive field it puts people against each other. It lacks community and it doesn't encourage diversity, which is a problem. Because then we're only hearing from the people who are able to perform, like who look like they're performing well, and that won't always give us like the next best thing for our company or for our school or for our house. Um, what is really important is to have more areas of growth mindset. And that means, focusing on like who's not feeling a part of the group and how do we get them to be a part of the group? Like, what is a safe way that we can like help support them and not just like putting them on the spot, like, hey, you haven't heard from you, you speak, but maybe trying to realize what their strengths are and how you can incorporate that into your community. So, I feel like those are where we need to start. And what I also just want to say is that like one is not like you can't have one all the time. There are always, times where it changes and, life is not just like black or white, obviously. So fixed mindset or genius mindset does come in and out, and sometimes you do need it, but it is good to have growth mindset more. Okay, so we are going to talk about it looks like an iceberg. So picture an iceberg, and what you see at the top of an iceberg are the artifacts. And these are like visible things that you see at the school, like easy, like you walk into a school and what do you see? What do you hear? How does everyone look? Like, does it look like all the teachers are getting along? Do the students look happy? Are there signs up that talk about like inclusion and diversity? Like, are there posters up with disability representation or different cultural backgrounds? Like, do you see men and women of, white, people of color, disability, not disability? Like, there are so many things. And I mean, especially the school district that I'm in, I have been subbing and it has been so interesting. Every school I've been to has like the same expectations and like information for the kids, which is just like so good. But there's this, my favorite one is like levels of regulation. And so it goes through these 5 zones of regulation and goes over like, how are you feeling? These are things that can help you. If you get to zone 5, like, where can we give you the space to be mad kind of thing, like in a safe way. And I just love that. I love all these feelings talk. It's so important. We all have these feelings. We can't bottle them up because they will come out. So I digress. The artifacts are first. And these are things that we can look at, like the school layout. Is everyone able to access everything? For example, recess. Can all the kids access the playground? Classroom layouts. Is there flexible seating, group tables, rows of desks? What is there? Displays and signage. What's on the bulletin boards? What kind of rules are up? Events and ceremonies. Do they have spirit weeks or field days or cultural celebrations? Like, and how is everyone a part of that? Classroom tools. Are there smart boards or Chromebooks or sensory tools or, books with different representation? Is there rugs? Is there flexible lighting? What is there that can make it inclusive, accessible for like all sensory needs? And even like seeing the dress code. How do kids dress? Do they feel comfortable in what they're wearing? Are there strict dress codes? All that stuff. All of these things are artifacts. And also having like the classroom rules posted, having like a greeting is a huge thing. If, you know, when teachers do the morning handshake or teacher at the door saying hi, welcoming everyone in. Do they have music playing? Like, how do they kind of set up the school's culture right when kids show up? One of my favorite classrooms that I subbed in, this lady knew what she was doing. The classroom, you come in and she didn't even use the classroom lights. She brought in all of her own lighting that was just like lamps around the room that was just like a much less intense light. And it was calm and all the kids came in and there was like, you know, classical music playing. They had a beautiful picture of like a nature scene up. And the first like 20 minutes of class was to like come in, do your math warm up, and if you're done, you got to feed their class pet. And it was just like, you know, and the kids talked. It wasn't like no talking. They said hi, they talked to the teacher, like and the expectation was that they were going to finish their warm up, and if they missed any other days, they could go back and finish those. Um, and it was like, it was so beautiful. The whole class, the whole time I was in that classroom, I was impressed. But that was like, I came in and it was clear what the expectations were. It was clear how everybody felt in that classroom. Everyone loved the teacher. Um, how do we interact with each other? This is something else that if you're sitting in a classroom for 10 minutes, hopefully you're seeing if the teacher is, you know, like listening to the kids, like how strict are they with the kids? And then lunch and recess norms. How is everyone sitting together? Are there again strict rules? Is it noisy? What does the supervision look like? And parent involvement. Is there visible parent volunteer programs? Are there PTA initiatives? All of this is seriously, there are so many little areas that can be shown in artifacts, and so many areas that we can work on as a parent, as a teacher. Um, and this is really where we start because you need to start just kind of doing these little practices that start building momentum. Let's start build like so people start learning like, oh, maybe we should do things that the PTA is hosting. Like, you know, maybe the teachers should try to come to these events that the PTA is doing. Maybe we should learn, you know, like whatever things I was, all of it. I was gonna say maybe we should learn like better behavioral support strategies and like make sure that everyone who's with the kids learns them. I was thinking of like the lunch proctors or the recess, like if it's not a teacher who's out at recess and lunch, are those people also trained on how the teachers are helping support the kids? Next, artifacts is the tip of the iceberg. Right underneath the iceberg is the values. So, these are a little bit more hidden. You might have to go look for them a little bit more. But these are explicitly stated beliefs, norms, and principles that an organization claims to uphold. So these are maybe there's like a teacher's guide at the school. Like when I go to a school and I'm going to be a substitute, I get a substitute binder and it gives me like the rules for the school to follow. Um, and this also provides like a framework for the decision making and behavior. So if there is a behavior with a student, what is the steps for the school? Like all the teachers should be on the same page of like, oh, a student hit another student, what happens? Um, and just throwing this out there, it should not just be an automatic suspension. Maybe the student is going to be suspended, but there has to be a conversation. There has to be a resolution. There has to be more to it than just suspending the child and thinking they're going to figure it out. Because our job as educators and administrators and parents is to see where our kids are struggling and see where they're having a hard time communicating or having their needs met or not, you know, working on consent and helping them through those hard times, giving them the resources to be able to like communicate their needs or ask for a break or, you know, figure out a way to regulate themselves that is a safe and healthy way for them to do so. Um, and then I got distracted. This is something that also should like it's like a practice. It's like an ongoing, it's not like, oh, we tried this once and it didn't work, let's move on. Like it's these are practices that like teachers and admin, again, that everyone is like practicing to do and like live by. Um, a way to make sure that your school has a strong, inclusive value or goal is to look at their mission and vision statements. So looking at, and it should be on the school's website, but seeing what it says. Does it say the word inclusion in it? Does it talk about diversity? Does it really reflect what your school is like right now? And then core value statements. These, I mean, I remember growing up having like the six pillars of success or something, and we had a song that we sang, and we had a assembly once a month where kids were being the most respectful or responsible or caring, trustworthy. Um, and it was a whole thing that we celebrated. And yeah, so if you need help fixing your school mission, that is something that is like any you're able to do that. I mean, with the support of your administrator. But I was at a school that updated their school mission, and I don't think I really thought about how important that was until like later when I then went to a school that I was not very that I did not connect with. And I remember reflecting like, wow, I had this amazing principal who realized our school mission didn't reflect how amazing our school was and wanted to update it. Um, so yeah, so if you're looking to do that, you could totally reach out to me because I do have like a resource to like help you with that um, practice. Okay, talking school policies again. Oh my gosh, I keep meaning to do information about restorative justice. Restorative justice is a really interesting behavior support plan for schools. And it's a lot of, and like people need to be trained on how to specifically do restorative justice at your school. But I feel like if you are at a school that has a lot of behaviors that you don't feel like your school is doing it right, restorative justice is a great way to do that. And it's a lot about like, um, figuring out the problem, helping the kids come to a solution, talk it out, and and again, there's still consequences. Whenever I talk about behaviors, people think for some reason I don't think that that there should be consequences. Of course, there should be consequences, but they need to be appropriate to the child and to the situation. And there needs to be an understanding of what's happening. I mean, it's not just like a cut and dry kind of thing. Um, and then another way to share values is like, is there a newsletter that goes out? Like, does the principal or like a leadership newsletter go out? Does the principal do speeches before open house and talk about like what they do to keep their school amazing? Um, so that is values. And now I'm moving on to the last one, level three, which is the very bottom of the iceberg. And this is the underlying assumptions. So these are the deepest and most ingrained level of organizational culture. They represent our unconscious beliefs that guide behavior and decision making within an organization. And they are deeply embedded, that they are often not explicitly articulated or questioned by members of the organization. Um, these aren't always discussed because these assumptions are like they all come from our own individual upbringing, experiences, outlook. And so it is really hard when you have a really specific assumption of like, I believe that every student can learn and every student can be included. And coming into a school where people are going to say, well, your students are too hard to be included, it just doesn't make sense. Like that is like a conflict of interest, and that is going to be real hard to change their mind in a month. So, um, understanding that people are not going to have the same core, well, I want to say values, but that's like part two. The core, like the the underlying assumptions that you have will not be shared with everybody at your school, but having conversations of like genuine conversations of learning what how they feel and empathizing with them. If they're saying, students with disabilities with these behaviors, like they're scary and and it's hard for the other students to learn and it's a distraction, you can hear them and say like, yeah, I hear you. And that is frustrating. And I would never do that to you. Like I would never just put a student in your classroom and be like, cool, inclusion, thanks. Like having those conversations of like, if you don't ever feel safe or if you don't feel like it's working, we can reevaluate and we can try something else. Uh, and having these conversations are just so important because that is how real change happens within a person. They have to see things work. They have to know that they can trust you and making those genuine, trusting relationships with your coworkers, or your IEP team is just so important. Whew, man, I've talked a lot. Okay. So just like some examples of like, do the teachers at your school truly believe that all students can learn in their classroom? Or is there more of like, those are your students, these are my students? Because really, schools are a community. Just because we all have our own classrooms, we should all be having like the same, I mean, it's kind of like a neighborhood. Yeah, we might have different beliefs, we might have different opinions on things, but we all have the genuine, like general understanding that we are here for each other, that we don't have to agree on everything to still be neighbors that will look out for each other. I mean, a great example right now is I'm not getting along with one of my neighbors because we both just really disagree on a topic that she keeps bringing up. And we've decided to take some space and not talk to each other for a little bit and try to figure this out. But if I were to be walking by her house and I saw like some random person trying to get into her house, I would still call her and be like, hey, someone's trying to get into your house. Or I'd call like the police or something. Like you can, which is, I might be going off on a tangent here, but I feel like it's really important to like, when you're in a community, you can't thrive if you're not going to keep working together. Even like if our underlying assumptions don't line up perfectly, because they're not. Even with other people who practice inclusion, who teach inclusion, I'm sure we can find things that we disagree on. But that doesn't always mean that someone's right or wrong. It means we just like haven't learned about it yet. So it's just, having that growth mindset and being open-minded to hearing people's concerns because you need to help them like you need to fix those concerns kind of, not like I don't know if fix is the right word, but finding that understanding is just like really important. Okay. I think that, oh shoot, I'm gonna say two more things. First, I'm gonna say this quote from it's like a Harvard Business Review quote, and it says, "Culture is like the wind; it is invisible, yet it affects its effects. It's culture is like the wind; it is invisible, yet its effect can be seen and felt." And yeah, I mean, it's the deeper you get into the iceberg, there's just so much to really dive into. And it's work and it's always work. You're never going to get to a place where you're like, okay, inclusion is done. Like, no, you're always working on bettering you, bettering the system, and growing. We learn new things, society changes, we adapt. Um, Last thing I'm going to say, a great thing to do, and I think this is a practice in restorative justice as well, but I think it's just also so good for the school culture, and classroom culture, is having some form of like a morning circle or a morning like routine set in your classroom at the school. Um, Greeting someone when they come to school. I heard this when I first had kids. Of course, I was getting all like the Instagram stuff towards new moms. And one of the things was like waking, like when your kid comes into your room and you are in a good mood, it was like just the data shows that like kids have such a better day when you started off good. And that is something that falls on the parent. That parents, my kids come in all the time in the morning, wake and they're waking me up super early. And yeah, sometimes I'm annoyed because I'm not gonna lie, can't wake up happy every morning. But I already can see the difference when I wake up and I'm like, good morning. And they're like, good morning. How'd you sleep? And it's like such a better conversation. And it's just I mean, it makes my morning good too. Really does. And what I love about like especially elementary schools, which is like where I love to teach, um, it's just like such a fun feeling to like be going around and you're in your community and you're saying hi to everybody. And it's just so great. So, whew, talked for a little bit longer than I expected to talk, but that is what I just wanted to talk about with culture, kind of the intro to culture. So bring this back to your school. See what you can do to keep making it an inclusive culture. I just realized I don't have my tarot card, so we don't get to have a tarot card reading today because I am recording this downstairs if you are watching the YouTube video. And that is it. So thank you everyone for listening. And we're just gonna keep on going. Oh, happy end of the year. It's like summertime now. Have a great day. Inclusion starts with you, and I just want to help. Bye.